Okay. And so I want to officially welcome you back to our business boot camp. And so this month we begin talking about sales, which is a very exciting topic, something that I know people often approach with trepidation. And if I've done my job well, by the end of this call, you will be extremely excited about having sales conversations and feel much more empowered to enroll your ideal client into your program. So what we're going to do during this evening is we're going to start our introductions. And what I'd like to do is, to talk about something that you did in the past week or the past month that was scary for you. It was scary, but you did it anyway, because that's the kind of grit that we need to build, or capacity that we need to build to allow you to be successful in sales. It is still going to be scary, but to recognize that you have done scary things before and you've been successful with them. So that's what I'd like to celebrate this week. So every time we start out our sales calls, we always talk about something we're celebrating, because celebration is important. But this time I'd like for us to be focused on celebrating something that we did that was scary, but we did it anyway. So whoever wants to jump in can start us off. We'll go around and everyone will have a chance to share. And so, just say your name as well, and then tell us the scary thing that you did. And also tell us why you did the scary thing, even though you were scared. So.
Okay, I'll start.
Thank you, Amy.
Okay, I'm Amy Steiner. Hi, Elena. Nice to meet you. I'm sorry, not feeling well. So I started taking voice lessons. That was really scary because I've always liked to sing, but I always kind of do it in private. And, because when I was growing up, I'm very musically inclined out of all of my siblings, but, I would be singing in the car and my dad would turn the stereo up really loud so he wouldn't have to listen to me. So I have a fair amount of insecurity around my singing voice. So for me to take voice lessons and have somebody else hear my singing voice is very scary.
So, congratulations to you.
Thank
so
you.
what made you willing to take that risk, even though you were scared?
My mom passed away in December, and she was very sick for it felt like a really long time and a really short time all at once. But, as she was dying, I just realized she had never heard me sing.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. So that's why I'm going to try not to be emotional about it.
Yeah,
but
no, that's amazing. That's important. Yeah. I mean, we actually do get a chance to connect with what's really important, and spending that time with your mom and wanting her to have that joy of hearing.
She didn't get to hear me sing, but it's what inspired me to not let that happen again with anyone else in my life.
Yes, I love it. Thank you, Amy. So who's ready to go next? Share something that you did that was scary and tell us why you did it.
I'll go. So I tried my powerful introduction.
Yes.
Was that last week? I think that was. And it was very scary because I have been used to using the same introduction as I have been doing since I started this private practice journey. So it was very different, but I knew I needed to start doing things that I haven't done before to get results that I'm looking for. And it didn't turn out quite the way I wanted it to, but I think I just needed to practice a little bit more and to add some things to it. So it was definitely a good learning lesson for me, and just to practice it and figure it all out. So
exactly. Yes, because we're actually getting valuable feedback when we're out in front of our ideal client sharing, right? So some of them are going to be like, oh, that's perfect. Can I work with you? But if they're looking confused, if they're like, what? That's very valuable information, because that's like, oh, I have to go back and make it more clear and make it more plain. So it's all successful, even if we don't get the response that we want. But congratulations to you, Shanta, for actually going out there and doing it, even though it was scary.
Yeah.
Excellent. So who wants to go next?
Each time I hear someone say something, I kind of want to say something, but I'll do the original thing that I was going to say. So I had pressed another button, but this was a button for MailChimp, and I sent out an invitation to my champagne party, which all of you are invited to, for women. And it was scary because now I'm committed.
Yes.
And I sent a lot of invitations to people that I don't really know. I just kind of met them like maybe at a meeting here or there. So, you know, that whole feeling of, oh my gosh, they're going to unsubscribe, they're going to reject, they're not going to open it. It's just, you know, all those fears of, but I did it.
Excellent. And tell us, why did you do it? Why'd you hit the send button, even though you had those butterflies?
Why did I hit the send? Because I just have to do it. I just, if the party's in a month, I have to get them to save the date. And no matter how many times I reviewed, done is better than perfect.
Yes. Yes. Write that in big letters over your wall.
Yeah, the date wasn't really in a very good spot, and I didn't even put my address, but it's okay. I'll do that on the next one.
That's right. Imperfect action is better than no action. So excellent. Thank you, Marianne.
And Marianne, I got that, and I did not see any kind of what you're talking about with it not being in the right spot. Like, I read it and I thought it was great, and I was like, oh, let me pencil this into my calendar. So
okay, good.
See?
I'm sure a lot of people are doing that too.
Good.
Exactly.
And I'll get those addresses here, emails, so I can email each of you. Hopefully.
Okay.
Great. Thank you, Marianne. So Yolanda and Elena, who wants to go next?
I'll go.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you,
Okay.
Yolanda. Go.
I thought I muted myself again. Well, I did something this week, which I usually don't do. So I've been inviting ladies to my group program. That's new, first time. But something I did differently, which I invited them, and I recorded a little message on Facebook. But what I was doing before was just inviting them and saying, hey, if you want to have a free conversation with me, strategy session, just let me know. But then I said, you know what? I'm just going to put the link now with my for my calendar. So I started just doing that. So I started leaving a message and leaving the link. And for me, that's kind of scary, because to me, it seems like kind of like almost, I don't know, too much. Like but I realized that I needed to change the way I was looking at it, because I'm doing it to help them. Like, I started thinking they're going to think I'm being really aggressive and I'm being pushy. And so, but the thing is, what happened was one of them scheduled a call with me. So it was great. I was like, yay! So I'm going to keep doing that, because I realized it's an extra step for them to have to then say yes to me. And a lot of them are toying with it. So I was like, make it easy for them. Just click the link and set up the appointment. So
I love it.
That's awesome.
So
I'm going to do that more often. Like, just not think about it like pushing sales, but more, I'm trying to help them and make it as easy as possible, because they're already like all over the place. So
yes. So Yolanda, you're already teaching half my lesson for today. So thank you. And it's all about how we reframe sales. So
I gotta stop.
I'm so grateful you made the rest of my job easier. Thank you.
Okay.
So Elena, we're very eager to hear from you. What have you done that's been scary?
Elena, and I'm an artist. And one thing that I did was scary was I just finished an abstract painting class, which is out of my comfort zone because I'm traditionally a portrait artist. So abstract is like way opposite of what I'm used to. And it just allowed me an opportunity to just kind of get out of my own head and try something different. And I think what made it scary was, I guess after the fact, I don't know if people who normally follow me are going to like my new work. But just kind of going out there, and I really love being emotionally authentic.
Yes.
So I'm honest. I tell people, look, I struggled in this class, but here's my painting. And honestly, a lot of them got more compliments than my portrait work. So it was a really good confirmation that I think I did the right thing.
Okay. Well, the confirmation that you did the right thing came from within you when you said, I'm being honest, and this is, stretching myself, and this is where I want to go. And that should be celebrated, because it is easier to stick with what we know than to stretch out and do something different. So congratulations to you for that. So congratulations to all of you. The skill set that you have already demonstrated is the exact skill set that I'm going to ask you to draw on in order for us to approach this month of sales. So as Yolanda said, I'm going to go through work where we're stop thinking about sales as being pushy and start thinking about sales as service and actually as an act of love. So that's what I'm going to share with you today. We're going to talk about, first I want to get feedback from you about your list of awesome. So I wanted everybody to share their awesome, but in the interest of time, I think I'd just like to hear you tell me either, what you got from that experience or what you learned about yourself or what you learned about how you can incorporate your awesomeness into your offer. So I'd love to hear your feedback on your list of awesome. And then I want us to actually do a meditation on sales. So I ask you to bear with me on that. I think it'll be fun. And then I want us to talk about the 4 kind of key elements of sales. And those are, as outlined in your workbook, the clarity, certainty, compassion, and consistency. And at the end, we're going to compute numbers, and you're going to walk away from this call with the exact number of sales conversations you need to have this month in order to hit your goals. So that's what I have for us in terms of an agenda. As I said, it's pretty packed full, but I think it'll be a lot of fun. So let's start with another round robin with your list of awesome. So what was that experience like for you, and how do you see it playing into your business? Don't everybody speak at one time.
I enjoyed it. Some of it was hard, especially when it came to appearance, because I think I struggle in that area. But as it relates to an offer, I mean, as you know, I haven't really figured out my offer yet. I'm still figuring myself out as an artist and exactly what I do want to offer to people. But it really allowed me to appreciate my tendencies, my kind of weird, like I'm a huge 80s baby, I love music, and I share this often on my Facebook, but now that you got me thinking how to put in an offer, I don't know, I guess it would just come out through personality to make people feel that, hey, I'm just a normal person that you can relate to.
Exactly. And these are the things that make us relatable. And I intentionally have appearance on there, because as women, we practice body shaming, right? Like we get together, we're always talking about what we don't like, about, oh, my hair looks horrible today, oh, my hips, whatever. And it doesn't serve us well. And it creates this image that there's something fundamentally wrong with us. And so I want to start from, you are absolutely amazing at every level, including the physicality. And so finding the things that we love about ourselves, even if it's your eyelashes, like I have beautiful long eyelashes, I have great nails, whatever it is, that's your thing, and celebrating that, because when you can do it, you will feel so much more powerful. And that power is what is necessary for you to be an effective communicator in however you're communicating. So if you're like, oh, why does she have appearance in here? And that's so superficial. It's not really superficial, and there's a method to my madness. So other people responding to your list of awesome.
I'll follow up. I found it really awkward almost like I wanted to look over my shoulder, make sure you talk to me. We're not really encouraged to talk about how awesome we are.
Yes.
For some reason, I had a hard time filling out the activities. Like I
Mm-hmm.
like stopped at 2 or 3, which is kind of weird. Maybe I want to be obvious and say I can take good pictures because that's what I do. But I was trying to think of other things. So it was kind of interesting. Gosh, it's like I can't think of a lot of things that I do well as activities.
Well, so the point isn't to come up with things that you do well, like, you're a kind of gold medalist at skiing. It's to come up with things that you do that you really enjoy. Because when you're doing something you enjoy, like, that's really cool. And it's like, oh, I didn't know you skied. I didn't know, that you have a dog show and that there are all of these interesting things about you that you enjoy doing. And you want to be able to share that with your community, as people are getting to know you. And so then you won't just be the photographer, right? And they won't only just think of you when they're thinking about pictures, but when they're watching TV and it's a dog show and it's like, oh, Marianne does dog shows, you'll come top of mind in a whole lot of other parts of their life because you are engaging with them fully, as yourself. So
that makes much more sense. Okay.
Keep that in mind. Thank you. I'm ready.
Okay, I'll go. Yeah, I mean, talking about how awesome you are it feels funny, but I do think that the outcome for me, just looking at my list of my 25 awesome things, I realize it's very in line with what I do.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that was definitely the first thing that popped into my mind about that. And then just, I included my partner, in some of this discussion, and, she came up with some other things and I was like, oh, really? I'm like that, so it was kind of an interesting, thing about like looking at, I'm like, yeah, actually I am, and it helped me. A friend of mine told me, that I should make like an altar to myself, like to appreciate myself and celebrate myself, just as part of my healing process with this grieving. And I was like, hey, I already got that. I got that with Keisha's list of awesomes. So there you go.
We were collaborating, your friend
That's
and
right.
I.
That's right.
And I'm glad that you invited other people to give you feedback and that you can see you are way more awesome than you even know. And that is true for every woman on this call. Like, we underestimate ourselves so many times. We downplay the things that we're really, really good at. And it doesn't serve us well, and it makes us shrink. And then we can't kind of fully show up and serve other people because we're feeling insecure. So I hadn't thought about an altar, but now I have this great idea. But I do actually want you to have your 25 list of awesome by your desk. So wherever you're doing your sales calls, and before you do a sales call, I want you to read your list. And I want you to feel that feeling of, I'm awesome.
Yeah.
I rock this. Because that's the energy that we want to bring into the call. So I'm glad you had that feeling. Thank you.
Thank you.
I wasn't keeping track now. I'll let one more person go, and then I'm going to give the other people a break because I want to move through.
I guess I'll go.
Okay.
So it took me a while to come up with my actual skills. And I don't know if it's because I feel like for me, therapy is very just innate. Like I just kind of do the things that come naturally to me and trying to help support and help guide folks. And like this has always been kind of a struggle of mine, especially when I was in school. It was kind of like, okay, I do these things, but these things have a name to it. So I was trying to figure out what the name was for these things that I just kind of naturally am able to do.
Yes.
And
Did
so
you
that's
get
why
names for them?
yeah, I came up with names for them.
Okay.
But it took me a while to figure it out. It's like, oh, okay, this is the name for it. This is what I have to do, and how I can add that to, I guess, some of my marketing strategies.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And that's also why I have you do the signature strengths, because those are the things that come easiest for you are the things that you're most likely to overlook and not have language for. So part of that strengths is to give you language to talk about the amazing things that you can bring to every situation. And for the rest of you, if you're ever struggling with, how do I describe this skill set or whatever that I bring, just think about the last compliment someone paid you, or think about when people come to you for advice, like what are they asking of you? Because that thing that they're asking is the thing that you do really well, especially if there are lots of people coming to you for those things. So that's another way to kind of put language, kind of do what Amy did with her partner, her business partner, like, let me pull you in and have you help with that. But so that's great. So you're starting to connect with your awesomeness. We're going to continue to build on that. But I want you to see that you really are awesome. And you really are bringing this amazing skill set and talent and energy and focus to actually helping some people move from their pain and into their freedom. And that is a very honorable, and I would say a very sacred role. So in our last session, we talked about Harriet Tubman and how, this work that she's doing of delivering people from slavery into freedom is very hard work, but it's work that's done out of love. And that's the position that that you have willingly put yourself in, right? Because there's some people who could take their awesomeness and only use it to benefit them. And you've decided to take your awesomeness and use it to benefit others. And so I want to celebrate you for that. And I want to invite you to think about how you can do that with more success, and how you can do that in a way that feels very authentic to you, because that is truly what sales is. So now is our meditation. So I'm going to ask you to close your eyes and kind of just sit quietly. You don't have to do any special breathing, but I'd like for you to meditate on this idea of love as the basis of sales. So as you're sitting there with your eyes closed, I'd like for you to try to tap in to your desire to be of service to other people. Connect with your desire to support people, with your commitment to being a problem solver in the world. There are people who make problems, and then there are people who solve problems. And you've committed to being those people who are solving problems for others. I want you to imagine the positive shifts that people are going to be able to make in their life as a result of working with you. I want you to see those people like literally in freedom land, right? See their triumph, connect with their joy, hear their thank yous, feel what it feels like to know that you have helped them reach this point of celebration for themselves. And I want you to connect with your commitment to moving people from their pain and into their solution. So now I want you to open your eyes. And that is sales, right? So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to make it possible for you to bring that energy into your conversations with your ideal client. So sales requires 4 things. It requires clarity, and by clarity, you have to be clear on the problem and you have to be clear on the solution. So it also requires certainty. And by certainty, I mean you have to be 100% sure that you can help them. Like, I know if this person put their hands in my hands, I know I could get them across the river. It also requires compassion. Sales is an act of love. And so in a sales conversation, you have to be 100% focused on the other person, right? So not going into sales thinking about, oh, how am I going to make sure I pay my rent this month? Or how am I going to make sure that, I get enough money to get that new car that I've been wanting? That's not what it's about. It is totally focused on that person. How can I make sure that they get exactly what it is that they want? How can I make sure that the pain that is holding them back, that they get freedom from that? So that's compassion. And then the fourth part of sales is consistency. Showing up and asking again and again and again and again. And when you think you're done, ask 3 more times, right? So that's what sales requires. So I want to have another poll for you. And I want to ask you, where's my poll? So which of these 4 areas of sales that I've just described for you, in which of these 4 areas do you think you need the most help? Is it clarity, certainty, compassion, or consistency? So you can describe, just vote now. And I'll show the poll when everyone gets their vote. Okay, so everyone has voted. All right, so it looks like consistency is where most people need help, but also clarity and certainty, which is great because we're going to talk about all of them. But could I have someone who voted for consistency just share with us what makes that part of sales most difficult for you?
I did consistency. I think the most difficult part of it is to continue to reach out to individuals, and also because it feels like sometimes like nothing's happening.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where the consistency, where I start to feel like kind of tired, like I'm doing this, and because I've been like reaching out, I've been trying to reach out to like 10 ladies a day, at least on the weekend, and sometimes weekdays when I have time, but it's like, and then I get very little response overall, or, so that's where the consistency, like to stick with it, even if I don't see stuff immediately, is a challenge.
Great. Thank you, Yolanda. And how about clarity? What's some of the challenges that we experience around that?
And I need clarity because even though I've been an artist for, I can say since I was little, but pursuing it as an adult for years, I still don't know what problem I'm providing a solution for.
Mm-hmm.
It was always, centered. I would always wait for someone to come to me.
Yes.
And so it wasn't anything I had to figure out. And then in my mind, I still think of art as a commodity. It's not really a necessity. So I'm having a hard time figuring out what problem am I? And even if I was solving a problem, not everyone wants it solved that way.
Mm-hmm.
They don't feel like, well, I don't need art. I don't need a painting to do that. So it's my thinking that I'm just like all over the place. I'm like, I have no idea.
Great. Thank you, Elena, for sharing. And how about certainty?
I answered certainty, and I'm not really sure why, because I know that Taekwondo can impact people in this positive way. However, I think the reason is a lot of people bring their children to Taekwondo, right? Mm-hmm. And so even though to me, my ideal client or the place that I want to focus my energy is adults, I think like some kids, I'm like, I don't know if I can help you. Like, I mean, I know it'll help, but not if you're not going to be consistent about it. Right. So it requires a little bit of a commitment on their part. And so if they're not willing to do that, I can't help, obviously. So I think that's where why I answered that. I was like, why did you say certainty? But I think that was what came to my mind. So
that you only can control your own behavior, not the other person's.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay, good point. Great. So we'll spend a little bit of time on all of them, but I'll try to address the concerns that you just raised in each of the sections. And if I don't fully address your concern in that section, please do stop me and raise the issue again to make sure that it's addressed. So let's look at clarity. And as Elena talked about, it is very important for us to be clear on what problem we solve, and the problem that we solve might not be the problem that we think we're solving. So let me say this: everyone buys something because it solves a problem for them. Right? I buy toothpaste because I don't want yellow teeth. I don't want stinky breath. Like I just took my car to the shop and I just wanted an oil change, and my mechanic said, you need 2 new tires. And I bought those tires, not because I love tires, not because I wake up thinking, wow, I really want tires in my life. It's because I want to be able to drive safely, right? Like I do a lot of driving and I need to be able to be safe. So everything that we buy, if it's Jimmy Choo shoes, if it's a Coach bag, right, it's because of a problem that we have. Maybe I feel like, I don't really fit in the community that I'm hanging out in. And so this is my way of showing that I'm one of them and, connecting with people who I want to be, or making myself feel better about myself. Whatever people are buying, they're always buying it for a reason of what it does for them. And in order to be effective in selling, we have to discover what are the reasons that people are buying things. And their reasons might not be obvious, and it might not be the same reasons that you think people are buying them. So there are 3 kind of major areas of problems that people have, and everything that we buy really relates to one of those 3 areas. So that's health, that's wealth, and that's relationships, right? People want to be healthy, they want to have money, and they want to have great relationships. And everything that you offer, your problem that you're solving, is in one of those 3 areas. And so it's up to you to get clear on what that is, which of those 3 areas it is. And I have a list in your handout, the worksheets. I have a list to show you that, what you think of as different kinds of industries might actually be solving the same problem. So the one about wealth, helping people make more money. Who does that? Business coach does it. Oh yeah, that makes sense. An accountant does it. Okay. Graphic designer does it. Oh, I hadn't thought about that, right? But what they're doing, the result, what can I do if you create this beautiful logo for me or make these beautiful visual stories for me? Oh, it's going to help me make more money, right? Then a photographer helps people with relationships, right? So if I am a photographer, and brand photography helps people make more money, but there are photographers that focus on helping you connect with yourself, to feel better about yourself, more empowered. Those kinds of things are about relationships, even though the relationship is me to myself, right? That's a relationship. And likewise, a marriage counselor also helps people with relationships. And so we might think these people aren't solving the same problem, but they actually are working in the same area to solve that same problem. And likewise, I have a nutritionist and a home cleaning service as both solving the problem of helping people have better health outcomes. So I gave you the list just to allow you to see that you have to kind of dig deep about your offer to see where it connects. But it needs to connect to one of these 3 areas, because these are the primary needs that people have. And this is what you are helping them to solve, a problem that they already have. Because part of the reason why people feel pushy in sales is because you're focusing on selling to people, but you're not talking about their problem, right? Or they don't feel that they have a problem. So when I was in Brazil a few years ago with my boyfriend, and he actually saved this man's life at a restaurant we were sitting in. And, you know, we're there, we're talking, we're like the only Americans in the restaurant. And this man, kind of, you know, 2 tables behind us, he's coughing, and then he's coughing louder, and he's coughing louder. And so we turn around and look, and he's a very, very big guy, like Godfather kind of big, you know, and he's coughing, and he like pushes the table away, and he's standing up. And so then I'm like, oh my goodness, I think he's choking. I don't speak Portuguese. My boyfriend doesn't speak Portuguese. You know, I don't know what to do. But he runs over and he looks in front of the guy, and he's like, do you need me to help you? Like, but in English, because he doesn't speak Portuguese. And the guy's just like, yeah. So his friends back up. My boyfriend puts his arm around him, does the Heimlich, does it 3 times. And the 3rd time, like this big thing hurls out. That man was so grateful. Right? He didn't ask my boyfriend, like, are you a medical doctor? Have you been certified in CPR? Do you have the right to do this? He was in pain and he needed some help. And the fact that someone cared enough, you know, to come around and actually help him, he was very appreciative. He bought our dinner. He you know, came over and had the waiter, who was the only person who could speak English, like translate to us, you know, his deep, deep, heartfelt appreciation. And so that is what you are doing in sales, right? Like, you are only going to the people who need help. There were lots of other people in the restaurant at that time. Everyone else didn't need the Heimlich, right? But this man did. And because, you know, he was able to see someone in need, and he was able to ask, you know, do you want me to help you? And the person said, yes, because it's an urgent need and I need help. So that's what sales really is all about. So what I'd like to do is to have you get in small groups. I'm going to pair you off again. And in your pair, I want you to answer the 3 questions that I have kind of laid out here. So the first is, which of the 3 areas does your offer solve, right? So people have a major problem. Which area of that problem are you helping them with? And then I want you to get very detailed, like you're a doctor, and describe the symptoms of that problem. Right? You know, when you go to your doctor and they say, you know, are you having shooting pains that go down your left side? Are you, you know, having difficulty twisting left to right? Whatever it is, those are the symptoms of a particular diagnosis. So I want you to lay out what those symptoms are of this problem. And then thirdly, I want you to describe not how you get people there, because we don't really care about that. All people want to do is to be free of the problem. So describe what life is going to be like when they are free of the problem, right? So back to my example, when the guy is choking, his face is turning purple. You know, his arms are going around his neck. He's gasping for air. He's, you know, leaning over. Like, that's his behavior. After the solution is applied, he's breathing easily, he's relaxed, he can smile. Like, these are things. So I want your description to be so tangible that I can see it. So happiness is not tangible, right? I can't see it. So how would you know I'm happy? I'm smiling, I, you know, hug the people who are close to me, whatever it is, but it should be behaviors that you could look at and see what happens as a result of getting the solution. So I'm going to have you work in pairs. I'm going to put you in small groups, and I'm going to give you 5 minutes. So 5 minutes for one person to just go through, you know, the 3 questions for your business. Then I'll come in and tell you to switch. Then there'll be 5 minutes for the second person to go through those 3 points. Right? So before I put you into groups, or as I'm putting you into groups, are there specific questions that you have about my instructions?
I just have a quick question.
Yeah.
So, what if there's secondary problems? Like, so, like for example, with Taekwondo, health, but also it increases like the quality of relationships, like on a, so how, what is that? Do we
Great
include that?
question. No, don't.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so right
Okay.
now, and this is what clarity is going to help, because clarity is going to help you focus on one thing. There are going to be lots of positive side effects that come from it, but that's not what people are buying. They're going to buy the one thing. Okay. So I have Shanta and Marianne, you'll be in a group. And I have Yolanda and Amy, you'll be in a group. And Elena, you will stay here with me. So I've opened all rooms, so one person can start. Your 5 minutes, I'll come in and tell you when you have 5 minutes left.
I'm sorry, my join the breakout group went away. I don't know what happened to it.
Okay, here you go.
Oh, there we go.
All right, now you can join. And let me do my 5 minutes. Hi, Elena.
Hey.
I figured it would be easier for you to stay with me in case you needed to take a break.
Yeah, I'm trying to stay put. I'm like trying to breathe slow and just keep it going.
Okay, so let me do my timer for 5 minutes. So for the people, when I have off numbers like this, the people who get to work with me get extra special time. So we usually do twice in a row. So you can either spend the first 5 minutes kind of writing down your answers, and then when I come back, you can share them with me, because I know this one in particular you want to give more thought to, or we can spend these first 5 minutes with you kind of trying to talk through where you think you are, and then we can do more talking in the second, or you can do some writing. So which would you prefer?
You can start talking.
Okay, great. So which of those 3 areas do you see yourself?
Considering what I've painted in the past and what just made me feel awesome, I would say relationship with self.
Now, again, it's for what your client is. Okay, so go ahead.
Yeah. I think the first time that it really hit me, when I was in Texas, I had decided to bless my pastor with a live painting that I did in front of his church. And he had shared his testimony with the church multiple times, but it's not something that he talked about extensively because it's painful to talk about. So he was burned alive. He even died, came back to life, and his testimony, I mean, when you hear it, you're just like, it's like listening to a movie. Like, it's unreal, the things that he saw and what he went through. And so the testimony painting that I really wanted his testimony to be playing in the background, but it was like over an hour long. So I was like, I can't do that. So they had his testimony recorded. So I typed up a PowerPoint presentation so people can read his testimony as I was painting. Wasn't even the best painting. I still look at it. I'm like, ew, but like if he was talking about the fire, I was painting fire. When he was talking about seeing angels, I was painting angel wings, but you couldn't see what it was until the end. And when I turned around, he was prostrate on the floor crying. I didn't expect that. I just wanted to bless him and to let people know, hey, our pastor's been through some stuff. Like, let's appreciate him some more, and he stayed on that floor for a long time. And so I was just like, wow, and then when he finally got up, he came over and hugged me, and he was in tears, and he was like, I'm thankful for your life because you reminded me of my purpose. And I can imagine being a pastor, you're just always like supposed to know. The pastor, they need to be reminded, they need to be encouraged too.
Exactly. So now that you know that through your art, you actually allow people, you solve the problem of helping them better relate to themselves. Now that you know that, describe for me what life looks like before they are fully related to themselves. How would that problem show up for them?
Depression. In my interviews that I've been doing, that has come up more than once, where they felt depressed, they weren't sure about their purpose in life, they were very just, it just didn't look good. Life did not look good to them anymore.
Okay, so paint that for me. If we were, I didn't literally mean paint that, but yes. So if we're making a commercial and it needs to be visual, so show me, a scene in a depressed person's life. Like, what would I see them doing, or what would I hear them saying that lets me know, yeah, this is a person that doesn't feel connected to their purpose, that's feeling depressed? What would I see?
I might as well just explain myself, because I struggled with that. So crying, just sitting alone, crying, feeling just hopeless. I guess the image that comes in my mind was after I found out my twin brother passed away 2 years ago, I just wanted to go into my closet and just cry. You feel alone. You feel like you can't connect with anyone.
Okay.
And you feel that there is no solution.
So, when you're describing this, there's a commercial that I saw for, God, I can't think of what it is, but it's something, I think it is an antidepressant medication. And it has this person and they're walking around and they have like a little happy face in front of them and they're going to their friends, but it's not really them. Right. But yeah, that's the kind of visual of you're in a group, but you're really not being you. Exactly. Let me pause and let me join the other groups and tell them that their time. I'm coming back. You have 5 more minutes.
Okay.
Sallow?
Hi, ladies. You have 5 minutes, so it's time to switch now.
Okay.
All right, let me leave this one.
You're muted.
After with them.
Hi. Oh, I can't hear you. Can't hear you.
Here you go. Thank you.
There you go.
5 minutes now,
Okay.
so it's time to switch.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. I will give that some thought, Yolanda, but let's move on to you then.
Okay. All right. So I'm pretty clear. The area that I help with is wealth. I'm a financial coach, so I definitely help with wealth. Symptoms that I constantly see with clients is the symptoms. They are in extreme debt. They are living pay.
Shows you're muted.
Sorry, I keep forgetting every time I come back that I mute myself. All right. So I have 4 minutes now. All right. So we know you're connecting people, helping them and solve the problem of relationships. We have had you describe what it looks like when they have this problem so we can see it and know it. So now describe for me after that problem has been solved, after they have purchased your art and they have become more connected to themselves and connected more with their purpose. Describe for me what their day looks like.
Honestly, a recent interview kind of helped me with that. It was another testimony painting for a man who had a stroke, and he was confined to a wheelchair, couldn't speak very much. So, I mean, he's come a long way, and today he still needs a wheelchair, but he works on cars. He doesn't let his disability get him down. So the friend who commissioned me, she said he looked at it when he first saw it, and he said it made him realize how far he'd come. So it reminded him, wow, I'm doing better than I thought. And some things we just forget. And so when someone else from the outside sees it, even though I don't know him personally, but I depicted it in a painting, it's like, it makes them feel better about themselves. Like he just felt better.
So describe that for me visually. What am I going to see?
He walks by it and smiles. There might even be tears.
So we have tears in both our before and our after, but they're different kinds of tears. So we want to be able to portray that visually, right? If you were making a commercial, maybe these are blue tears and I'm like this. Maybe this one, there a few tears streaming down and I'm looking up. Like that's the level of, I want to see what's the difference. Go ahead.
I guess it's hard to explain. They would look lighter, like they've been lifted. And so I guess they would be more peaceful. Like instead of a face of sorrow, now there's a face of like clarity. Same thing I'm struggling with. I don't know. That's hard to explain. The only thing I can think of is just smiles, just reflection.
Okay.
Like a confidence.
Okay. Again, confidence has to be described. Okay. I'm going to go and tell them out, but let me give you an example, right? So, I could describe, me jumping out of bed in the morning, right? I have energy, I'm approaching life. That's what happens when I reconnect with my purpose, right? And then when I'm not, I'm kind of lying in bed, I'm lethargic, I'm walking around. So that's the level of tangibleness that we want to get with these emotions. But now I'm going to pull everyone in. So they'll be joining us. They have like 57 seconds to come and join us. But yeah, so you get the point about the level of clarity is you being able to describe that clearly that someone else can see it where they are. All right, so welcome back, everyone. When you come out of the small groups, your mics are automatically muted, so you can just unmute yourselves. So that's our work around clarity. I actually have another poll. No, not yet. I want to talk about certainty. Sorry, I got too many polls. Okay, so certainty was another thing that came up for us. I think this was your point, Amy, that you were bringing up around certainty. And certainty is very important in sales because this is not just true in sales. This is true in every interaction you have with someone, in every conversation. The person with the most certainty wins. So when you're having these conversations and it's like, I think A and I think B, it's not even necessarily that A is right, but if the person who is saying A feels it like very deeply in their gut, they are really certain and powerful about it, that frame actually overwhelms the other frame. And there are all kinds of psychological studies around how this actually happens. And I know for me, just growing up, I was always a person who's pretty certain in what I think, even when I'm wrong. And it used to be weird to me. My friends would be like, well, why'd you say this? And I'm like, well, you did it too. Like, why are you blaming me? And they're like, but you didn't know the truth. Like, you talked about it like you were right, but you weren't right. And I was like, well, I thought I was right. So, but that's kind of how I started to see, oh, what they're really responding to is how confident I am that this is the case. This is certain. And so people love certainty and they're attracted to it because they themselves are feeling uncertain. And especially when you have a problem and you've been trying to solve it and you haven't been successful, you start to doubt whether you actually can ever have that problem solved. You start to doubt yourself and it pulls up all kinds of insecurities. So the people you're talking to are really going to need your certainty and they're going to borrow your certainty. And so when you show up, you have to believe that it is possible for them to have a better life. Like that's what you're certain in. I am certain. I know you've been in this situation for 20 years, but I am certain that there is better things for you, and that you can have that better thing. Not just somebody else out there can have it, but that you can have it. That's the kind of certainty that you walk into the sales conversation with. And so for me, this is why sales is an act of love, because it really is turning your message into a movement. You are creating a movement, and you are inviting people to walk out of the kind of belief system that they are currently in that has them in all this pain, and walk into your belief system that is going to give them freedom. And so, I study social movements. I love social justice. It's very important to me. And I am always in awe of what it must feel like, for the people like Dr. King and all of the, nonviolent protesters who are in jail, believing that even though I'm in jail, I'm doing the right thing. Even though I'm standing here and these people are screaming at me and spitting in my face, even though I still believe that this is the best and the only path towards freedom. This is the best way for our country to move forward. Like, that is the strength of their conviction. And it's that kind of conviction and certainty that you need to bring to a sales conversation. Even though it looks like there's no hope for you, I know that there is hope. Even though you feel like everything is against you, I know that you can beat this, and I'm here to help you beat it. Like, that's the kind of conversation that you have. And when you have certainty, it shows through in your voice, right? So what brings you certainty, we'll talk about in a minute, but I just want you, we won't have time to do this on this call, but I want you for homework to practice talking about something that you know, right? If you want to say the sky is blue, whatever it is, I don't care, but it has to be something that, like, you are hella sure that it is. Like, you would stake your life on this thing is true. And I want you to say it to someone else. Just talk for 2 minutes about that thing and ask them how compelling you are. Because I think you will see that you talk about things differently when you really believe in them than when you sort of believe in them. When you sort of believe in them, you're like, yeah, I think we can help you, or we should definitely do this, right? Right? You hear that question? Like, my voice goes up. What? I'm not certain. Guys, I know we should do this. We should definitely get started now. You really need this. That's certainty, right? And that's what you bring into a sales conversation, because people are battling their own doubts. So, Amy, I think this was your point about how can we be certain when we can only control our own behavior? And that's absolutely true. So what we are certain of is, if you put your hand in mine, we can walk across this, right? I can get you over here. I can't carry you across. There is work that you have to do, but I know I'm committed to you. And so if you're committed and you trust me and you do what I say, we're going to get across this river. And that's the certainty that we bring to the conversation. Again, it's how we talk about it, even more than what we actually do talk about. So in your homework for this week, I actually want you to spend some time kind of writing about what you're absolutely sure about. And then I want you to consider the 3 things that allow people to be certain. So one is expertise, right? When you're expert in something, then you're certain. And so when I say expert, I don't mean you have to have served 3 million people. I mean 3 people, like 3 people who have gotten amazing outcomes from working with you. They could have paid you and got those outcomes. They could have not paid you. You could have donated your time and they got those outcomes. But you need that in your back pocket, because you'll have little gremlins in your head like, do I know I can help them? Yes, I know I can help them because I help this person, that person. And that's what you say to yourself before you go in. The other thing that you need is certainty that you actually are qualified to help, and that you have a great product. So the offer that you've put together exactly for that person. And that's why I want you to be very specific in your offer. It's not for everybody. It's for this particular kind of person, right? This person who has this pain on their left shoulder that shoots down to their wrist. That's what your offer is for. It's not for people who have pain in their right knee. That you don't have an offer for that. So the more specific you can be and the more you can tailor your offer, then you can have confidence that I know this can help you because I created it exactly for you. You are my ideal client. And then the third thing you have to have confidence in or certainty about is relevance, right? So you have to be an authority on your topic. And that's not anything that you ever stop doing. So this is building the kind of lifelong learning into it. You're constantly reading, you're constantly studying, you're constantly going to new, professional experiences to help you get better so that, your clients that are working with you are getting you at the top of your game and not 20 years later. So I have my second poll, which basically asks you, where is it? Here it is. Okay. So what areas of certainty around sales do you need to build, right? So which of these three areas do you need to build more certainty around? Your expertise, the certainty that you can help, or relevance? All right, so we have 5 people. Great. So we have certainty that you can help, which is exactly what we've been talking about in terms of crafting your offer. So for those people who put that, I would say spend some time working on your offer and making it so that your offer is designed for that person and will get that person across. And we will go back to working on your offer, but if you want some more support around that, all of you do get private coaching as a part of this group experience. You have 3 sessions. So just send me an email and let me know you want to use a session and we can work on putting together your offer. But that's what that is about. And relevance, think about how you can build up your knowledge base in the area that you're working in. So what I have for you for homework is to actually go back to your signature strengths and think about how your signature strengths could actually, this is your specific steps to build certainty, right? So for certainty that you can help, what is one specific thing that you can do? For relevance, what's one specific thing that you can do? But also thinking about pulling your signature strengths in. So that's the area of certainty. Compassion, this is why I love this group. You're like so overflowing with compassion that you're like, oh yeah, we kind of got that down. So I'm gonna go through this part of it very quickly, but I do want to say that, so many people talk about not liking selling because they don't want to be pushy and they don't want to have to convince people. And selling has nothing to do with convincing people at all. It's actually about compelling people from their own self-interest, right? And so in order to sell effectively, you have to be able to see the world through the eyes of your ideal client. What is it that they want? Not what do you want? Not what do you want to give them? But what is it that they want? And for them, you stand as their ally. So sales is a transference of inspiration, right? So you walk in to that conversation feeling like, I know this person is hurting. I know I can help them. I know they can have a better future. And then you transfer your confidence to that other person so they feel inspired. Like, yeah, I can stretch out and try this thing, because making decisions is stressful. I mean, I'm a coach. I understand that it's a very stressful thing, and you're asking someone to make a decision. So just that is going to be stressing them out. Then it's about a problem that they have, and they don't know if this is actually going to work, and they're afraid, what if I try and fail again, right? So you have to be compassionate for them. This is a really difficult thing that they are considering doing. And your job is to support them through this very difficult time for them. And you support them by being confident, and you support them by being compassionate with them. And so if you come from your own perspective of what it is that you think they should want, that's a salesperson or a nag, right? That's what your mom is always telling you. You should do. Nobody cares what you should do. It's what you want, right? You want to be free of this, don't you? You want this kind of life, don't you? That's what inspires people. People only behave according to the things that they really want. And sometimes when we do improper behaviors, we're doing those improper behaviors because we think it's going to bring us what we want. So if you can tap into people's real motivations, what they really want, then they sell themselves, because all you say is, oh, you want ice cream? I have ice cream right here. Yes, I want it. Now, let me show you just how this is more nuanced than just, oh, you want to make money? Here's a way to make money, right? So I'm a business coach. I talk to people all the time who, are struggling and want more out of their business. And so I had this conversation I was having just earlier today with a potential client. And I was asking her, what are your business goals, whatever. She's like, I want to make $6,000 a month, my business. Great. Why do you want to make $6,000? I don't know. Seems like a good number, whatever. Like, no, that's not going to work, right? Because you're not motivated to do anything. It's not a meaningful thing. Like, dollars don't matter. Dollars only matter in terms of what they can get you. But in the course of our conversation, what I found out that she really wants is to move to Naples. She wants to live in Naples. She loves it. She was there for, the holidays, and, she spent New Year's there. Like, she has that, her eyes light up. She got all excited. And so then if I could show her that growing your business can help you move to Naples, oh, okay, now I'm motivated to do something. So our job in sales is not to tell people what they should do. Like, I don't care if you make $5 or $5 million. I just want you to have what you want. So what I need to know is, what is it that you really, really want? And that's like peeling the layers of an onion, right? You need to ask questions. So the problem with salespeople is that they talk too much. They are always telling you what's so great about their product. Nobody cares about your product. They need to know you care about them. And you spend most of your time in a sales conversation asking them what's important to them, asking them where it hurts, asking them where the symptoms are, and then asking them if they want to solve it. That's it. And once they say yes, then okay, this is the process. You enroll today and this is how we solve it. So it's not a complicated process. The point, though, is that you need to create questions that allow people to tap into what they really, really want. And what they tell you the first time is not the true answer. That's why I gave you the example of the conversation that I just had. So what I have for you for homework is, again, to practice this with a partner, where I want you to practice answering the same question 3 times. So I'd like for a partner to ask you, tell me why you want to have a profitable business. And then you'll say whatever you say. And then they'll say, tell me why you want to have a profitable business. And then you'll say a little bit more. And then they'll say, tell me why you want to have a profitable business. By the 3rd time, you're probably speaking the truth, your truth, your real motivation. We kind of talk in the beginning about justifications, about things that sound like good answers and things that we think other people will support us in. But by the 3rd time, we're talking about the things that really move us. And what really, really moves us might not be what is socially acceptable or what we think other people want to hear. And so that's why we've kind of covered that up. So but from you having that experience, then what I want you to do is to list what kinds of questions could you ask that would allow your ideal client to get to that core level of truth, not the superficial level, right? And so you want to be able to ask them 3 to 5 questions with some probes that get them tapped into what they really, really want. And if you've done your job well, whether they enroll with you or not, they're going to be grateful because you've helped them. You've helped them get clarity on what they really want. And you've helped them kind of connect with that problem and make a commitment to doing something about it. So before I'm going to get into consistency, but before I do that, are there any questions about anything that I've said around around compassion?
Do you have any example questions that we could start off with, like, or how it should?
Yeah, so you start with asking questions about the main problem that you solve. So for me, I'm a business coach, so I start with, how much money do you want to be making in your business? How much are you making now, right? What's stopping you from making that amount of money? And then I start to hear, what are the problems that people are facing? And everybody faces different kinds of problems that shows up in their life differently. And so that's why we spend most of the time listening. Because when we're talking, like, I can't do the same sales script that I do with you that I do with another client, because you're different people, right? And you want different things, and it shows up in your life, different things. Yeah, we might all be talking about making money, increasing our money, but how and why and all those things are very different. So it's not to have a formula, it's to have a process. And that process is one that gets people talking about their pain. So those are the questions that you want to start with. Thank you, Elena, for raising that. So to end with this discussion of consistency, which is where most people were, right? So I love, the biblical saying, you have not because you ask not, right? So we do not ask nearly enough for what we want. We're afraid to ask. And women in particular are really afraid to ask. So the post that I did today was on the difference in pay between men and women. And so in, corporate world, right, men make at least $10,000 more than their female counterparts, right? And in the entrepreneur world, it's still the same. Men make around $7,000 more than the average woman, female entrepreneur. And I asked, why is that, right? And I get all these responses, it's discrimination, blah, blah, blah. It's some of that, but it's also because men ask so much more than women. Men ask for what they want. They're taught to ask. They're trained to ask. They're rewarded for asking. And women, when we think about asking, we think, well, we shouldn't ask for that. Who do we think we are? How dare we ask that person? We go through all this stuff and talk ourselves out of asking. And not asking will set us up where we definitely won't have what we want. If you ask, the other person may say no, sure. So you have probably a 50-50 shot. If you don't ask, you have 100% shot of not getting what you want. Like, that is guaranteed. So my job is to get you to ask, and to ask over and over and over and over again. So I'm going to show you next week kind of how to do the ask in terms of, we're going to talk about what you should be asking for, when you should be asking, and how to structure the ask. But I want you to start asking this week. And so my last poll for the night is the number of sales conversations that you need to have. So all of you, have already done your business your business plan, your 90-day business plan. So you have your set goal. So tell me, how many conversations do you think you need to have this month in order to hit your goal?
Your 90-day goal to hit your 90-day
Your monthly goal for this month.
Monthly goal.
Mm-hmm.
Monthly goal? Oh, I put too much. Okay. Okay.
Let's see.
I did. I was thinking of outreach, not calls.
Okay, so here we go. So we have wide variation. Most people need between 11 and 25 sales conversations this month. And so I'm going to show you how to do the exact number in 2 minutes. But before I do that, I want to start with just sharing something about Babe Ruth and Babe Ruth's success secrets. So you have this on your next to the last sheet. And, you know, Babe Ruth is also always known, you know, as this great strikeout person. Like he is in the Hall of Fame. Not strikeout. He's known as a great home run hitter, right? So he has the third highest record for home runs in all of baseball. Like that's, you know, why he's really famous. But he is also a strikeout king, right? Because he had lots of strikeouts, and season after season, he would still have lots of strikeouts. And even when he was really good, he'd still have lots of strikeouts, right? And so what we learned from Babe Ruth is that it wasn't, he was able to achieve more home runs than everyone else because he was willing to strike out more than everyone else. So most people that played are so afraid of striking out. So the average baseball player strikes out less than 90 times. It was, what is it? Only 136 players in baseball strike out more than 94 times. Okay. But Babe Ruth struck out 1,330 times, right? So he was way off the charts in terms of strikeouts. And that was his level of fearlessness. And that's what allowed him to be so successful. So the quotes that I selected from him that I want you to add to your wall of awesome, right? So your 25 awesome goes here. Your Babe Ruth quotes go right next to it. It is, you just can't beat the person who never gives up. Every strike brings me closer to the next home run. And never let the fear of striking out get in your way. So I'd like to hear from you. What is it that you want so badly that you're willing to risk striking out for?
I'll speak. I want so badly to serve Black women and really help them master their money. I want to help as many women as I can. But at least for my program, I want to get 4 women at least to start off. And I want it so bad that I'm willing to just keep working at sales and in other words, doing the outreach, sticking with it, even though I don't see results a lot of times and I don't see immediate results. I'm just going to keep going, failing basically.
Yes,
Till I succeed, because that's really what it is.
Yes, and even after you succeed, even after, I don't enroll everyone that I speak with. No one does. Babe Ruth, at the height of his success, still struck out. And so what I'm trying to get you to appreciate is that failure is not a problem. Failure is only a problem if we let it stop us. Failure is feedback. Shanti gave her powerful introduction and she didn't get the response that she wanted. That's fabulous.
Right.
You learned something from that experience.
Yeah,
You know, you talk to somebody and they don't enroll that minute. That's wonderful. You've had an opportunity to practice giving your, sales conversation and to figure out how you can get better. So failure is feedback. Failure is failure if you stop. If you strike out and then you go and you sit down and you never play again, you have failed. Everything else is success. And anyone who has achieved any level of greatness,
I know.
you read all their biographies, this is the one thing that they say. And at Google, which is known for innovation, right? Like they create things that we've never even dreamed were possible. We haven't even seen them on science fiction channels. So Google creates things. But their innovation lab, it's called the X Lab, what they do is celebrate failure. And when I say celebrate, I mean they have parties, they have cake, they have balloons. When someone comes up with a project, what they say is, okay, go out and test it, try to make it fail. And they go out and test it. And when they're like, oh yeah, it doesn't work, the manager calls the whole team in and they have a party. Why? Because we've learned something. We have a better understanding of the situation. It is not failure that makes us stop. It's what we think failure means. And so we'll have more opportunity to kind of unpack this, as we work through the program. But what I want you to try to emulate is just for the next month, try to be Babe Ruth, right? Think about every time you're having a sales conversation, that person didn't enroll. Great. I'm one person closer to my home run, right? The only way that I can be stopped is if I stop myself. These are the things for you to tell yourself over and over again. So let me actually walk you through how many of these sales conversations you're going to have, because this is going to be your best practice. This is where you're going to refine your message. This is where you're going to understand your ideal client better. This is where you're going to make all the money in your business. Every business runs by sales. If you are not selling, you do not have a business. So this is what you want to get good at, but not just good, really enjoy, right? And so that's the challenge that I've taken on for myself. So let's go to your last sheet, and we're going to look at how many sales, how do you figure out how many sales conversations you should be having? Okay, so the first part of that is your income goal. So you can write in there from your 90-day plan, or if you already know your income goal for the year, right? What's your income goal for that year? And that goes right there in that version, the first line. And then where's my second one? Okay, so after that, you can write down, you divide that by 12. So in my example, I'm trying to find, I wrote, because I didn't want to do the math offhand, but here we go. So in my example, my income goal is $24,000. So I write 24,000 in the income goal. I divide that by 12, and that leaves me with my monthly goal. So for me, my monthly goal is $2,000 a month, because my goal is 20. So you will write in what your monthly goal is. Now I have to figure out how many clients do I need to reach my monthly goal. So if in my example, I have a product or a service that is $500 a month, I picked it easy for easy math. So for $500 a month to make $2,000 a month, I need 4 clients. Okay, so that's, for me, I would put 4 in there. You can put whatever number you works for you. So everybody with me, you have your monthly goal? Okay. So
I'm sorry, I just have a quick question.
Yes.
In addition to what you're already making, or just overall?
It's
total?
Overall,
okay.
Your overall total. And that's a great question, Amy, because now
Yeah, that's why I'm asking it to
now I go to the number of clients, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my goal is 2,000. I need 4 clients in order to make 2,000. I have 0 clients. So that's minus a 0. You might have 400 clients. So you will minus whatever you're setting up, whatever your income goal is, minus the amount of clients you already have. Okay. So so minus that gives you the number of clients that you need to book. I'm sorry, that should have a little underline next to it. So number of clients you need to book, and then you put a number in there. So I had 4. I need 4 clients to reach my monthly goal. I have 0 for number of clients I currently have. So the number of clients I need to book is 4. Okay. Then I divide that by my conversion rate. We'll spend more time talking about conversion rate, but it's basically like your batting average. So if you talk to 20 people, how many of those 20 enroll? That's your conversion rate. I tell most people to start, if you haven't kept the stats on this, which from now on you will be keeping stats on this, so you'll know your conversion rate. If you haven't kept stats on this before, just start with 10%. It's a good rough estimate. So for me, if I have 4 clients and I divide that by 0.10, so that's my 10%. This is where my math was going off. Okay.
40, right?
Thank you, Amy. All right, 40.
I majored in math in college. So.
I appreciate it. That's why I wrote it down in advance. I didn't want to embarrass myself. Okay, thank you. I'm glad I have you by my side. All right, so I need 40 sales conversations. 40 sales conversations in order to book my 4 clients. So I want you to see the scale at which you have to go. So some of you had like, I need 5 sales conversations this month. Okay. That's not true. If you're trying to book clients, if you're trying to book 1 client, you need at least 10 sales conversations to book 1 client, right? But how are you going to get that for me 40, right? How are you going to get that number of sales conversations? You have to talk to many more people and invite them to a sales conversation. All of them aren't going to come. So that's my real life factor, right? So I have real life times 3. So I take my 40 and I multiply that by 3 and I get 120.
120. Yeah.
All right, there you go.
Good job.
Woo, I was sweating it a little bit. I get 120. So I need to talk to 120 people this month and invite them into a sales conversation. I need to have 40. Isn't it a lot? Yes, that's why I want you to see the scale at which you need to be doing this. So we kind of think, oh, I called 5 people and all of them said no. Okay, it's 130 other people that you need to invite, right? For me, if I talk to 5 people out of my 40 and the first 5 tell me no, I still have 35 more people to talk to. And it's kind of like if you had a deck of cards, right? You know there are 4 aces in every card deck. Sometimes you might flip it over and that ace might be up top. Sometimes it might be number 15. It's in there. Your client is in that deck of cards. That set of 40, your client is there. But you have to keep showing up and keep having those conversations until you meet him or her, right? And the reason why you will keep doing that is because of your commitment to that person and because of your why, whatever that reason was that you said you're willing to strike out, right? So there's a great quote that says, success is being able to go from one failure to the next without a loss of enthusiasm. So here's what I want you to pay attention to. Let's say I have 5 sales conversations in one day, and my first 3 all say, no, they're not interested. I need to be able to show up on that 4th call with the same amount of energy and enthusiasm that I showed up on the first one with. Because I'm not serving that person well if I don't. It's not their fault that the 3 people in front of them didn't want my offer, right? And so I'm not doing them justice by showing up and being less than my full amazing self, which is why I want you to have on your wall your 25 list of awesome. Because after you have every sales conversation, I want you to write down what you did well, right? 3 things immediately. These were the 3 things that were really good. Then I want you to write down 3 enhancements. What could you do better next time? And then I want you to write down 3 action steps. What are the activities, the actions that you're willing to commit to doing in order to get better at your sales conversations? So every sales conversation is a win, because every sales conversation has enhanced your learning, your understanding of your ideal client. It's enhanced your skill at being able to serve them. And then after you go through your list, you read your list of awesome. I would suggest you read it out loud to just remind yourself, whether they enroll or not, you are still awesome. You really are. And their decision is about them. It is not about you. It's about whether or not they are ready to take a risk on themselves. Your only commitment is to show up and to offer them an opportunity to get out of their pain. And the fact that you do that over and over again is just one more reason why you are as awesome as you truly are. So that is how you learn how to be consistent, and how you learn how to have the kind of career that Babe Ruth had in baseball. That's how you get that in sales. And that's the level of excellence that I am expecting for myself and for you, and that I'm here to support you in developing. So I will take a break now. We're 4 minutes over. I promise you we're going to end in 2 minutes, but I want to give you an opportunity to tell me one thing that you have learned, so one nugget, and one thing that you are willing to do based on that. Or you can use your time to say, and give me one question, right? Because I've given you a lot, and I want to check in with you before I release you out into the world. So if you're having that hair pulling moment, you can use your minute to do that. And if you have I think I see this a little bit differently, then you can use your minute to do that. Okay, so round robin, everybody goes, whoever wants to start, go.
I'm having an moment because honestly, as an artist, I don't, and I know the more I talk with you, I guess it'll become more clear, but I've never made a call, or like we tend to not operate in that way. So I'm already like I don't even know how to approach people to even have that conversation.
Well, you've never made a call because you've been selling online?
Right. Or previously in Texas where we lived before here, my commissions always came from people who knew me.
Yes.
So that conversation was always easy. So I've never had a commission from a stranger.
Yes. And isn't that a wonderful opportunity for you to grow? Because your business may start with people who know you, but for you to be profitable and hit whatever your goals are, people who don't yet have the privilege of knowing you will need to meet you, and you will need to ask them to buy your painting. So we can work on how you're going to do that. But that is what it means to have a business, right? And people buy paintings from people they don't know all the time. Most people buy paintings from people they don't know. Most people buy most of the things that are in your house right now were made by people you don't know. So that's the level of business that we're going to help you develop. Thank you, Elena. All right, Shanta, I'm just going left to right now.
I'm just thinking about possibly doing more in-person sales calls, only because I feel like I am much better in person. Like I feel like I can be a lot more engaging, and I can read body language and facial expressions, because sometimes I feel like things get lost in translation over the phone. So I'm thinking, how can I kind of relate this to all of the kind of in-person networking that I've been doing, and some of the like events that I have coming up that I'm hosting, and kind of circling through there.
Great. Now
making some phone calls, because there are like past clients that I still want to connect with and kind of see where they're at to kind of bring
invite back.
Yeah.
Yes. So this is the concern that I have about doing all of your sales conversations in person. You probably need to have 40 of them or more. And the amount of time that it takes for you to schedule all of those and get there and back and whatever, it's going to start to get unwieldy. You can do Zoom. I mean, technology is great, right? Like you can have a video conference with someone. But the most productive use of your time is to do what they call block scheduling on your calendar. And so, I am encouraging you to have 3 hours these are my enrollment conversations. And you schedule people during those 3 hours because your mind is already kind of prepared for that. You might not want to do, depending on your comfort. For me, I like to keep it to 3 a day. I don't do more than 3 sales conversations in a day. After that, I can't show up and be my best. But however many you want to do, you want to have a set time that you're doing it. And you have your ritual to prepare. And the networking and the live events, you are inviting people to sales conversations because they want to have a one-on-one where they know, can you help me? I know you're an expert. I know you did this phenomenal work here, but you don't know the problem I have. And I don't have the same problem that this person sitting next to me has. So networking and public speaking is how you invite people into sales conversations that are one-on-one, that then you make them an offer. You always ask them. It's not a sales conversation if you don't ask, would you like to buy? And when I tell you 80% of salespeople don't ask, it is true. They do not ask. They just think if they tell you what great products they have, you're going to ask them, can you buy it? But people aren't going to do that. So you ask them, do you want to buy? Do you want to get started? Let's start today. Right? Okay. Thank you, Shanta. Marianne.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So I get inquiries through my website, email inquiries, and they always want to know what's my price and what's my availability.
Yes.
And the minute I send out my price, I never hear back from them. So
of course,
I get them on the phone, but I have a hard time getting their phone number.
So you lay out to them your process, right? Oh, I'm so glad you're interested in my services. What I do is have a 15-minute consultation. Please give me your number. We can set up this appointment. I'll give you a call at an agreed upon time, and we'll talk about all of those things, what you're looking to get out of the session and what the investment requires.
So that's not like avoiding the answer that they're looking for?
It is not avoiding the answer because you're not sure that you want them as a client, and they need to follow your process, right? So when people are calling, and what they're shopping around for is price, and price is not necessarily the most important thing. But they don't understand that because they don't understand fully what the problem is. They don't understand, what they need to be paying attention to. So you are doing a service for them. You are definitely going to let them know what the investment is. But what's the point? And they could get scared off just by the price without actually thinking about the value. Price only matters if you don't understand value, and they can't get the value just from the website. That's why they have to talk to you. So anything, most things that you buy that are about services, it's the person delivering that service matters. And whenever I buy something, I want to know who is delivering that service, because that's how I gauge the value. I mean, if I'm picking up shoes, I can just look at the shoes and decide whether I want them. But if I'm buying photography, or I'm buying coaching, or I'm buying hairstyling, it matters who's going to do my hair.
And so if I lay out my process and I never hear from them, I assume that they're not my ideal client.
Correct. And they wouldn't have bought from you anyway. Because you actually do want to position yourself as an authority in a sales conversation. That's why I keep using the metaphor of a doctor, right? I don't call up, if I need surgery, I don't call up the surgeon and be like, hey, what's your rates? What? No. I mean, I don't call up my lawyer and say, hey, what's your rate? It is, okay, so our process is you come in, I give you a consult, I understand, what your problem is, and I lay out for you a plan of action, and I tell you what the retainer would be. That's how it goes. And what they have already done is positioned themselves as someone in authority and someone that I should respect and that I should listen to. So there are times when your potential clients are going to try to control the conversation. And one of those power moves is for them to ask the questions. They don't ask the questions. They're not the expert. You're the expert. You ask the questions. Yolanda.
I don't know. I'm just like, I don't know. I'm thinking, how am I going to get like 120 contacts? Really, honestly.
Yes.
I've seen how slow going it is so far with responses, and I have a group, but I'm not going to like randomly just start asking ladies like, I have to figure it out. Yeah.
So Yolanda, you have like 1,500 people in your group?
Yes.
Yes, that's a lot of people. So
that is a lot of people. Yeah.
So what you want to do is start making the ask, specifically inviting people through, your posts, through, you might want to write a blog post about, again, it's a conversation with your ideal client, describing the problem. This is what the problem looks like. This is what you're having. Hey, I'd love to help you with that. I'm going to give you, a free 20-minute consult, and we're going to figure out how to solve that problem. You do your, Facebook Lives. You might want to have your topic be organized around, again, describing the problem, agitating them, telling them what's going to happen. They're there because they have the problem, right? They're already knowing they have the problem. They want the solution, and they think they can get it themselves. They think they can figure it out. And so what you are showing to them is, let me show you all the reasons why you can't do it on your own, right? So for me, as someone, I teach on productivity, like a lot of stuff I teach is why everything you're doing that you think is making you productive is actually wrong. Because people have to understand you're trusting the wrong thing, right? Like you're going around multitasking, thinking you're getting everything done, and actually you're making it take longer and you're doing a worse job at it. But you don't know that until I teach that to you. So that's what your engagement with your clients are. And when you're in the grocery store, when you are, on your way on the trains in New York, you are talking to people. You're around people all the time. You don't
talk to people.
Guess what?
No, I don't feel comfortable doing that.
Look. This is where the rubber meets the road, because that person that is next to you on that train, maybe somebody who is really hurting and who needs your help. My boyfriend did not know the name of the person 2 tables away from us that was choking. And he didn't stop to ask his name. And he didn't say, I'm not going to help that person because I don't know who they are. And they're not part of my group. That's not what he said. It was a person who was in need, right? So part of this is creating questions that you can have conversations with people that will unfold what they're interested in accomplishing, right? Think about what kinds of questions you ask people. Like, I love asking people about their goals because I'm kind of fascinated about what people want to accomplish in their lives. And, people ask, oh, what kind of work do you do? I find that to be the most boring question ever. Like, you can't tell anything really about me by the work that I do. And maybe I'm not working. Like, I don't know. But find questions that are interesting and that get people talking. And if they talk enough, they will let you know whether or not they're your ideal client. So don't even think about inviting people. You don't sit next to the person and say, hey, you want to, buy my program. You just strike up a conversation and ask people,
And then what do you do after that? Give them a card? Like, that's what I mean. Like, it gets to be this point, I'm talking to them. I'm not that type of person. I don't like to talk to strangers.
Yes.
Really, a lot of times it's like I'm coming from getting a potential client, and I feel like I have an ulterior motive. So I'm like, I'm not going to talk to people on that day.
So get out of your own head. Get out of it's about me, what I feel good about. It's not about you. It's about them. And get curious about other people. So what is it that they want, right? How do they think they can get there? There are lots of people who think that, investing in the stock market is the best way for them. Or actually, how about this? Playing the lottery is the best way for me to get rich, right? Okay. So the lottery is what? I don't know, $6 million. I don't follow it, but people are always talking about the lottery, right? Hey, that's a great opportunity for you to talk. What would you do if you won? Oh, yeah. Da, da, da. Okay. So, and then you can lead the conversation to, do you think that's likely? It's not. What else could you do? Like, you still have that dream, even if you don't hit the lottery? Yes. Right. They're going to say no, but you're going to say, yeah, sure you can. There's lots of things you can do. And then you will go over with them.
Okay.
All right. But we are going to get out of our comfort zone. So all of us, like, nobody gets to say, I just feel comfortable talking to these people and doing this thing. That's why I started with, what have you done that was scary that you did anyway? That's the spirit you have to tap into to get good at this. All right. Amy, last but not least.
I think I have a lot more questions than than answers, which I guess is part of the process. I think it's interesting the way you have this stuff formatted. I noticed a theme, right? And obviously trying to hone down, what the problem is, how we solve it, and figuring out the, ideal client and all that. So I realized that I think I have to go back and re-examine some of that because, I'm saying that my ideal client is, like the busy adult that doesn't have time for self-care and things like that. But I have so many kids, right? And martial arts draws kids. And I don't, like, I feel like it's not that I don't want to help kids. I feel pretty passionate about it, but I feel confused. I think so is the answer.
Amy, let me pause you. And your ideal client is one person, and those are the people that you're going to focus for the next 90 days, your marketing and sales conversations on. I'm not saying kick all the kids out of your program, right? We love kids. They're there. They'll come, and they'll come without your attention. So who you are focusing on is this adult that is busy working and doesn't take time for him or herself and feeling disconnected. And
so I'm still on board with that then, I guess. I I don't know. I feel like, I think like what Elena said is how, and also Yolanda, how you're going to get in front of so many people, because I'm in the dojang teaching. Like I don't know how or where to find the time to reach people for these sales conversations, except like things like my buddy week that was successful, but it was kind of weird because I had 28 people come through. I got 7 people signed up, but only 2 of them were adults, which is so weird, even though the majority of the people that came through were adults.
Yeah.
So I'm so confused by that. I had 5 kids sign up, 2 adults, and the 2 adults that signed up haven't showed up yet. Like they paid for their trial month and they haven't shown up. So I'm not really sure like what to do with that. And
so that means that you have to focus on your messaging for adults, right? And what are the things that adults are really trying to accomplish? And how do you communicate to them that Taekwondo is the way that they accomplish that? Because if they were enrolled in, because there are people who will give you money but won't commit. That's why I'm saying what you really want to do is help people, but they need to commit in order to get the help that you're willing to give. So that's why sales is not just about give me money. Sales is about enrolling them in this vision for what they can accomplish. And so we want to look at your sales conversation to see, to me, that shows 2 things: that it's not actually hitting the things that are really important to them, and that your process of marketing isn't capturing the adult. So it's both a marketing challenge and a sales challenge. But the reason why I have you do the numbers is just to help you understand the scale of what you need to be doing. So most people are spending most of their time delivering service, and you think, wow, I just put in 8 hours delivering this service, like that's good, I did my job. No, not if you're a business owner. If you're an employee, yes, that's all you get paid to do. Show up and deliver service. Yes, not as a business owner. What a business owner does is create business. There are 2 things that create business: marketing and sales. And you should always, always be marketing and always enrolling people. And that's what creates that steady flow and that cash flow, so that you don't have these feast and famine cycles, right? So you probably want to be spending 10 to 20 hours a week marketing and sales.
I think I just can't figure out how to get clarity on what that means, like for this ideal client of the busy adult. I'm so confused because these 2 people, I had conversations with them, and then I had follow-on conversations with them, and they're like, oh yeah, like it seemed like all was copacetic and they were on board. So, excuse me. So I'm not really sure how to unpack that exactly.
Well, that's why I want you to keep the data after you talk to them, right? Look at, what did I do well? What are those 3 things that really connected with them? What are the things you can enhance? And what are your action steps, so that you've learned? You okay, sweetie? Okay, so that you learn from that experience, and don't make too much out of 2 people, right? That's why I just told you have to talk to 40 people. So it's a lot of people you have to talk to. We don't want to overemphasize 1 or 2 people. And that's what happens when our numbers are very small. That's why I'm showing you. In baseball, if you hit like 30% of the balls that come to you, you're a raving success. You're a raving success, because most people don't hit more than 30%. And so, you had 20 adults come, 2 of them enrolled, that's 10%. That's great. You clearly want those 2 who enrolled to come. So that's kind of another issue that we can work with. But everything is around, how do you take that and turn that into a learning experience? So let me end with saying this. this is why I offer you the private sessions in addition, because in the group coaching, I want to give you the training. I really apologize. I won't do this again, go over so long, but I really want to address this. I want to give you the training. I want to give you a chance to practice it. And I want to answer your questions. But I can't do all of that to your full needs just in the group. So I have 3 sessions kind of set aside just for you. Use them at times that are strategic for you. So if we need to work on your offer, let's set up a group coaching, let's set up a private coaching session and do that. If what you need is clarity about your ideal client, set up a private coaching session and we'll do that. If you need to figure out how to have a sales conversation at a particular event, set up a conversation, we will do that. So that's what those private conversations are for. If you are saving them in your back pocket, like, oh, well, I only get 3 for the whole year and I might need some, so I'll just keep it here and not use it. Please don't do that. Please use them as often as you need. If you want more, you can buy more, right? So I offer packages of 3, you can get them 3 at a time, 30-minute coaching sessions, and they're $200. You get your package of 3. So that is way less than what anyone pays for one-on-one coaching with me, but it is kind of supplement to what you already have. So my job is to get you in action. And you don't have to wait until you have all the answers to start. So between now and next week or 2 weeks from now when we meet, I would like for you to have half of whatever that number is for you right there. Have half of those sales conversations. At least try to have half of those sales conversations, because the value of what you will learn from trying will be as valuable as what I'm going to teach you in our next session. And I have some pretty great stuff to teach you. But when you already are out there trying, then you can say, oh, I tried this didn't work, or how do I do that, or how do I do that? Because some people have a sales problem and some people have a leads problem. And you can't tell the difference unless you keep numbers, right? So Amy, you actually have a leads problem because you sold 20%. I mean, you sold 10% of the people that you had these conversations with. So that's not a sales problem. You'll get better. Your average will get better, but that's a leads problem. You need to have more people coming in to your business on a regular basis so that you can have these conversations. So that would be what I would suggest that you and I work on, right? Some other people might have a sales problem. So you're talking to people and they're not enrolling. That is something that, again, I would help you in. So the numbers are your friends because numbers help you understand where the problem is. And you cannot solve a problem that you do not know exists. So now that you know what your target numbers are, I want you to go out, try to hit those targets. It is okay if you miss. I'll bring some cake and ice cream for next 2 weeks. We'll have a party. We can blow up balloons. Nothing bad is going to happen. But you have to get out there and try, because what you will learn from trying is extremely valuable, and your future success is based on this. So give up your perfectionist ways, give up your comfort zone, and step into what it costs to help people. Dr. King was in prison, not one time, but many, many times. There are many people who have endured lots of pain and suffering. Why? Because they wanted to help someone else. So if you need to step outside of your comfort zone, if you need to get up a few hours earlier, if you need to, say something when the little gremlin in your head is telling you to be quiet, if that's the price you have to pay to help someone, it's well worth it. If that's the price you have to pay to live the life that you are dreaming about, that your business is going to create, it is well worth it. Everything costs something. right? There is nothing that is free. Everyone is paying something. You have already reaped benefits that other people have paid for. And this is your opportunity to pay that back. That's why sales is an act of love. Love is giving. It is sacrificial. It is not easy, but it is transformative. So I will leave you there. I want to thank you for giving me this extra 30 minutes. And yes, I promise you, I will do a much better judgment of time to make sure that I know you have to get up early in the morning. And I don't want to do that. So I do apologize. I'll do a much better judge and cut some things out. Okay. So thank you, ladies. If you need extra support, please do reach out to me and we can set up your one-on-one coaching. And yes, I wish you all the best. Have a great night.
You.
Can you email me the information? I can't download it.
Oh, you couldn't pull it out? Okay.
It just never works for me for some reason. Thank you.
I'll send it to you right now.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks. Good night, ladies.
Thank
Good night.
you.
Good night.